Hey there, Internet. This is Explosions and Exposition. I'm Explosions, this is Exposition. Welcome to our show. Today we're going to be talking about Hollywood's infamous blacklist. For those of you that don't know, the blacklist is a list of the best unproduced scripts in Hollywood this year. It's voted upon by various producers and writers and high-ups in the Hollywood machine. It's quite fun because all we get is the title of the script, the author, and a brief abstract. So it can come. Some of the scripts can come off as quite odd.
Yeah, I've read through the list, and a couple of the scripts were out there.
Yeah. So while the scripts themselves may include some of the most fantastic writing ever to grace the celluloid screen, we're gonna have fun imagining what it actually says.
I imagine there are some scripts that no synopsis could do justice.
And there's a few of them. But I actually feel it's also an interesting tool to see the mindset of what we might be seeing going into production in the next few years with in terms of Hollywood, because this is what the producers think was great. So that probably means we're going to see more of it because they want to produce this stuff.
Yeah. It's a good indicator, I feel, for how Hollywood will be going in the next 5 or so years.
Yeah, so with that in mind, let's kick off with the first script, which is Catherine the Great.
Now, this is a biopic of the famous Russian leader.
Was she a Tsar or was she pre-Tsars?
I think, was she not pre-Tsar?
My Russian history includes mostly Cold War and Soviet Russia.
My Russian history largely consists of Putin memes.
So, the synopsis is Sophia Augusta takes control of her life, her marriage, and her kingdom, becoming Russia's most celebrated and beloved monarch, Catherine the Great. Doesn't really clear up the Tsar question. However, to be honest, I'm fine with this film.
I'm good with this film. It's always fun to have biopics of infamous historical characters and maybe having a few of your own misheld beliefs dispelled about them. And I'm always a big fan of these films, I find. Unless obviously they're done atrociously badly.
Yes, I mean,
we could end up with Kirsten Dunst or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I saw Anna.
Karenina?
Yes, that. It was good. I mean, I think it was 3 hours long, but it was good. But that's an adaptation of a book, obviously, rather than actual history. But it is Russian. It is
Russian, and Catherine the Great, if I remember anything, did have a very colourful life, so there's plenty of there for them to work with.
And I think it's going to be interesting, so hopefully it gets made.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Next is Rockingham, a look into the mania of O.J. Simpson's trial through the eyes of Simpson's sport agent Mike Gilbert and Los Angeles Police Department detective Mark Furum.
It sounds like Oscar bait.
It sounds like Oscar bait. I think so. Since we're from Britain, specifically Scotland, not America. I feel the whole O.J. Simpson thing is a very American centric.
Yeah,
thing.
It was.
Also, I think it's before our time.
It's very before our time, and we mostly get it through jokes on The Simpsons.
Yeah, I think so.
That's how I know about the O.J. thing. So
we can't really comment on that, though. It does seem like Oscar bait.
It does just seem like it seems like they're going to get a prominent black actor, and it's going to be some Oscar bait for him.
Yeah. And here, we don't really want to see any more Oscar bait. It tends to be quite boring.
Yeah.
This is the first weird one, which may or may not be saved by good writing, but we can't judge. The swimsuit issue. A nerdy high schooler who fancies himself an amateur photographer attempts to create a swimsuit issue featuring his high school classmates in hopes of raising enough money to go to summer camp.
Was Wes Anderson mentioned?
No.
Damn. Picture Bill Murray as his uncaring swim coach.
Yeah. I could picture Bill Murray as an uncaring character in a high school setting.
Yeah.
You basically got Rushmore.
Basically, yeah.
But with more naked prepubescent teens.
Well, it's swimsuits. They're not naked. It'll be fun.
Yes. Well, I don't know. See, it could be a really fun film about how culture, forces kids to sexualize women, and you play with a lot of tropes that way. Or it could be American Pie, but less funny. Or American Pie and more funny.
Yeah, it's kind of in that ballpark. It's either going to be a sort of indie style film, very
subversive,
pointing out flaws in culture and counterculture, or it'll be straight up American Pie ripoff.
And I don't think we live in times when another American Pie would go down well.
I don't think so either, no. I think another American Pie would be doomed to fail.
Yeah. Next up, The Wall. This one actually could go either way in my head. It's a sniper and his spotter must kill and avoid being killed, separate from an enemy sniper by only a 16 by 6 foot prayer wall. Now, I like the concept because, snipers, while...
Right, there's going to be two ways this goes. You're either going to get an incredibly tense, well-paced sniper fight, like almost no shooting.
Which would be great.
That would be amazing. Or, we're going to go full Expendables here. And there's going to be no wall left at the end.
Given the fact that it's the prayer wall, makes me think the first part's more likely, because I think that's going to be whole symbolism with, these are people's hopes for God,
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to go more Hurt Locker than they're trying to go action film, if that makes sense.
Or it could be, what was that? Was it Matt Damon, the one in Afghanistan? Was just released, Behind Enemy Lines or something? It was coming back. It could be good. I mean, if they go for the tens, stake up, maybe with some flashbacks of how they got here, you could be then you could get your action scenes of the dropping into whatever war zone they are, fighting, whatever makes them as a character, and do it from both sides as well.
I've got a feeling that this will be one of those films that starts off amazingly well, and you'll have an incredibly well-paced, well-structured, tense duel of wills, if you will, and then it will hit the end point where it goes
bang bang,
balls to the wall.
Yeah, that wouldn't work in this film.
I think it should be the tense, slow one, and ultimately, I hope they do that. I hope it's going to be one of those films because I think those films are wonderful.
Yes. Okay. Next film? Okay. Well, next film, situational comedy. A young woman feeling directionless stumbles upon a mysterious courtyard where she's transported into a sitcom-like universe, becoming a major character on this TV show.
I can't make my mind up. That's either the dumbest thing I've ever heard or pure genius.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It depends... For me, how they do the transporting. If she physically is transporting, this is a genuine sci-fi other world that she's found that generates sitcoms. This universe exists, and the sitcoms aren't actually being filmed by people who are actually little cups of reality viewing on this. I think it could work if they do it turns out at the end she fell and bumped her head.
Yeah,
that would just.
I kind of like the idea of it's again will they go full hog and she falls in a portal or one day she wakes up? Whereas I've really kind of right now in my head got this wonderful idea of she's on a set for a sitcom and she walks through one of the fake doors and then suddenly she's in the sitcom world and she can't get out. Because that would be nice and subtle.
Yeah, that'd be quite fun.
It's so long as it's as subtle as possible. I feel about all the otherworldly stuff. I feel this could work.
Yeah. So thumbs up for that one. Tao. I think it's pronounced Tao.
Yeah, it's pronounced Tao.
Is it? Okay. A woman held captive in futuristic smart house of a serial kidnapper realizes her only hope of escape lies in turning the house's sentient computer against its creator.
I saw the Simpsons episode, unless it's voiced by Chandler Bing. I don't see the point.
I thought it was
It's Pierce Brosnan for a while, but Chandler Bing got the best line.
Oh right. Fair enough. I feel it's just a rip-off of the Saw franchise, but with AI. And I kind of feel this is going to be... the movie's going to survive or fall on whether or not they actually understand how AI works. If they understand how AI works, then I think we could have a fantastic film on our hands. If it's just the human's actually a person that can be convinced by rational discussion and not understanding it's the way it's coded and the algorithms used, it's going to be terrible and it's going to it's going to flop because I think people are pretty tired of the Saw films. It's going to be a horror film, and I think it's going to fail on a lot of notes, but it's going to just be a generic, rather than being a clever. A clever horror film is always the best, I feel. The one that has ramifications that will stay with you. Yeah. Next film, Echo. A CIA drone coordinator battles his own psychological health while trying to decipher whether his wife has been replaced. I'm not even sure how this would work. like a body double, or is it a clone, or is it a robot? Could be kind of fun, like playing with like how well do we know people?
Yeah, it's got potential, but I don't think it's that kind. I don't think it's going to be that clever a film. I think it's going to be, is my wife a clone, or a robot, or a body double, or whatever you say. Any number of a list of stupid things that will leave you vaguely disappointed. Whereas instead, you had a man who was stuck out in Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever, in the middle of the desert, and he could only contact his family via Skype. And then he starts thinking maybe something's wrong at home via that way.
That would be cool.
That would be a very clever film.
That would be cool. Even like not even Afghanistan, like he's calling from like out of state but can't get back to work, and it's only the voice he can play like here. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, because then you've got a whole host of things it could be.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And it leaves it so much more open.
Yeah, especially if like it relates to his job and it's actually the job making him paranoid. It would be quite cool. It would be quite fun. Yeah. Okay, well, next film is Mena. In the late 1970s to mid-1980s, Barry Seal, a TWA pilot recruited by the CIA to provide reconnaissance on the burgeoning communist threat in Central America, finds himself in charge of one of the biggest covert CIA operations in the history of the United States, one that spawned the birth of the Medellin cartel and eventually almost brought down the Reagan White House with the Iran-Contra scandal. Now, this is a true story. The story is amazing, and actually Hawkeye is in a movie about it, an upcoming movie about it. So I think that's why we're getting this film, is because Hollywood's obviously jumping on this bandwagon. But yeah, I think that could be fine, because obviously
it has all the hallmarks of a movie that will be really good. Just from that synopsis, it's based on a true story. It's not exact. Hopefully, they won't skirt around the issue.
Yeah, I mean
that's the big problem I think movies like this can have.
Yeah,
that they try to focus on the characters and how they get the information rather instead of the actual effects.
I mean, the Contra affair had the U.S. government was literally funding the drug cartels, which are now currently still operating today, and I think there's some suspicion that they're still funding them. I'm not entirely up to date with everything that's going on in this area, but there's a lot of cool stuff that can be explored with this, and how the Reagan administration responded to the democratic will of the people in Central America, because these a lot of these governments weren't dictatorship style things. They were elected governments that the Reagan administration deliberately toppled.
So it'll be
it could be very good.
It has the potential to be a very successful hot-hitting film, I think.
This one's actually one of my favorites. It's not my favorite on the list, but it's one of my favorite. Dodge. A genre-bending action comedy about a pill-popping thug who begins to develop superpowers. I'm sorry, this is Crank 3. This is the script for Crank 3. Jason Statham, we have Crank 3.
I'm in, yeah.
That's all we have to say about this
I have no more chaos beyond, I just heard pill-popping thug becoming a superhero. I'm in.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love drug issues?
Next one is another sort of hard-hitting documentary. The story of Ruth Bader Ginsburg as she faced numerous obstacles to her fight for equal rights throughout her career. Now, I don't actually know who she is, but
she's a justice of the Supreme Court.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
Oh well, definitely Oscar bait.
Yes.
This is Oscar bait.
Huge Oscar bait. However, I almost guarantee whoever does the role of Ruth Bader Ginsburg will be up for an Oscar.
Yeah. Okay, I'm something more. I know who she is now, so I like that. I like this idea more.
I quite like the concept, because obviously I feel there's a rise of much more public.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a very feminist film, hopefully.
Hopefully. Well, have you seen the trailer for Selma?
No, I haven't.
It's actually what I feel this film will be modelled on. If it does well, it's about what happened during the civil rights movement. It's got Martin Luther King and everything, and it looks very down to earth, very serious. And I think that's a good idea of why this film made the list.
Yes.
Because Selma's not even out yet, and they're already talking about it's gonna Oscars.
Yeah.
All the Oscars.
So yeah, good.
This is one of the more stupid ones. The Munchkin. A little person, Private Eye, investigates the disappearance of a young actress in 1930s Hollywood, leading him to uncover conspiracies involving the Wizard of Oz and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brass. Now, I'm reading this, I'm just thinking, it turns out the Wizard of Oz is actually, real, and that the film is actually a documentary about the Civil War. that happened in Oz, and he was actually stolen from Oz as a baby, and just I'm not even sure how it would work. I mean,
I don't even want to see the film. Nothing about it sounds good.
It's so
like the only way to convince me is if they somehow got Peter Dinklage to play.
I mean,
the aforementioned private
it's
detective.
so oddball if it is. I feel there's a way of doing it that would make it amazing, but I don't. I have no idea what it would be.
I can't conceive. Like the only way is if you go the complete opposite direction and you find out the secret horrifying truth of the Wizard of Oz is that a lot of the Munchkin actors died filming it, and then it becomes a equal rights.
Anyway, next we have The Long Haul. A self-destructive trucker, estranged from his son, travels cross-country with a problematic nephew whom he barely knows. Now, we already know due date sucked, so...
Let's look at this. Now, either you're going to get the comedy of due date, and
which
this film's going to tank,
yep,
or this is going to... Like, I almost, when you started describing it, got reminiscent of The Wrestler.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be quite interesting.
Like a down-and-out man trying desperately to get his life back on track, but completely failing.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Actually, no. To be fair, I'm being unfair. There was a comedy version of this which was fantastic. Trains, planes, and automobiles.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It could be amazing. I kind of want to see your version more.
I hope for my version. Yeah. I hope for the hard-hitting version, but I fear the comedy.
Yeah. Next film, Berliner. As the Berlin Wall is being constructed at the height of the Cold War, a veteran CIA agent searches for a Soviet mole who's already killed several fellow agents, including a young agent he's mentored.
Now, at this point, I'd like to point out how many Cold War plots
have we seen?
And there's only more to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's largely because of the resurgent Russian imperialism that's been displayed this year, so everyone's kind of like, ooh, Russia can be a bad guy again. Because we kind of went through a phase where Russia couldn't be the bad guy.
Yeah, we wanted new bad guys. And we had Korea, thank God. Thank God for Korea for movies.
Yeah.
But, we got Russia
South
back.
Korea, we like South Korea. It's North Korea we have issues with. But yeah, Russia's now back as our bad guy. Which just feels tired. And we've not had a good Russian bad guy, I think, yet. I mean, there was that Chris Pine film with Kenneth Branagh. Jack Ryan.
Was it Jack Ryan? I was going to say Jack Reacher. It's some Jack.
Yeah, Jack shit.
To be fair, I actually saw a couple of bits of that, and the likeable part of it was Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, I know. We liked the Russian.
He was amazing. I think we're at the point now where the movie public almost loves the Russian guy because he's just
there
in your face.
Next film, One Fell Swoop. A self-centered divorce attorney's life takes an unexpected turn when he is guilted into spending time with the family of a one-night stand who dies in a freak accident.
That's gotta be
comedy.
Comedy?
I hope so.
It sounds comic. It sounds like one of those...
It sounds like Jim Carrey should be playing it.
Ooh, yeah, I would see that now.
Especially because he's been doing a lot of good stuff recently, which is kind of he's like dark comedy, like his role in Kick-Ass 2. Was funny, but it was also had nice hints of seriousness to it. So I think that generation of Jim Carrey would be quite nice.
As I said this actually just the other night to some friends, is I would like to see Jim Carrey doing more and more of the darker side to his comedy and to his serious acting.
I mean, we've kind of seen Dumb and Dumber 2 just doesn't really work.
It just looks
horrifying. It was good at the time, but please, Jim,
stop.
Yes.
Stop. But this has the potential to be a very good black comedy.
Yeah.
But I horribly doubt it will be.
Yeah. Next up, we have Yellowstone Falls. I think this could be my favourite on the list, actually, and we have the Willy Wonka one coming up.
Which might be my favourite.
After an apocalyptic event, a mother wolf is separated from her mate and the rest of her pack and has to protect her cubs from swarms of mutated humans, especially if this is done live action.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that could be a wonderful, wonderful storytelling, unless the wolves talk. And then we're dead.
Wait. It goes one of two ways. Either you're going to have some sort of cartoony DreamWorks Disney style film where it's like, talking wolves, or you're going to have the wonderfully done, almost no dialogue except one mutated Liam Neeson just for a bit of tongue-in-cheek there, hunting down the wolves, and it'll be awesome.
We want that film.
We want that film, but it's going to be the DreamWorks one.
Yeah, we know. Next is Syndrome, a detective solving the case of a disturbing film with subliminal images that is killing people who came in contact with it discovers a greater evil. We've seen The Ring, we don't have to talk about this film.
Yeah, no, move on.
It's another rip-off.
God damn it.
Actually, this we mentioned Breaking Bad earlier on, but I think this is the Breaking Bad ripoff. Beef. The manager of a fast food chain in Muncie, I apologize, Muncie, Indiana. You're a place. Gets in over his head with some bookies. Now, I think this is just Breaking, like, straight arrow, like, nice guy, dad, starts gambling
problem,
and then becomes the one who knocks.
With beef.
Well, just the beef's the name, man. Get over it. It's the gambling debt is the issue. The gambling is the. Also, you'd have the great line of "It's time to cook," but not including dry spell. No. Not convinced on this one?
No, not even slightly.
I'm kind of convinced on this one, but I think I've convinced myself into this.
I think you have convinced yourself. You're wanting way too much from a film that's ultimately going to just suck.
Next, we have Black Winter.
Oh God.
On the eve of a US-Soviet disarmament treaty, a British scientist and a NATO medical investigator discover a secret Soviet plot to unleash a terrifying biological weapon.
Right, okay. So, we've got Michael Caine as the British scientist. Everything says 80s movie.
And frankly, as Duke Nukem proved, the 80s do have a sell-by date.
A horrifically far past sell-by date.
Next up, another, item of a bygone era. Cartoon Girl. When a young boy finds out that the cartoon character he's in love with is based on a real girl, he drags his single father on a road trip to track her down. Now, the way I think this is going to go is the boy falls in love with the cartoon character, drags a single father, and the single father falls in love with the actual woman that the cartoon was based upon. Boom, happy ending. That's what I'm imagining this is going to be. I think that would be awful. I think it could be a really nice commentary on sexualization and the objectivism of women in our society, and that could be quite he views as this person he's fallen in love with the cartoon, so therefore he will fall in love with the woman because it's only looks that matter. Could be a nice message for this, and then have it turned around the woman is
completely different personality.
Completely different personality, really has her own life, is perfectly happy with it, doesn't need saving from anything. Boom, you have a good movie there. I don't think it's going to be that movie.
Yeah, I think it's either that or you're trying to get, what was that film about the boy who ends up rating the perfect girlfriend and she becomes real?
Ruby Sparks. That's an amazing film.
See, I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I reckon they're maybe trying to go for another one of those.
Yeah, that's true actually. Ruby Sparks. Is it Ruby? Yeah, it is Ruby Sparks.
Yeah,
it's very good because the whole power corrupts absolutely is amazing and it's done fantastically well there. But I don't think we're gonna get that.
No.
Let's just go to the next film. Road to Oz. Another Wizard of Oz thing. I think this is because Disney did Maleficent.
There's a resurgence of redoing classics.
Yeah. This is slightly different because it's the early days of brilliant whimsical author L. Frank Baum, who gave the world The Wizard of Oz. Now, this is the Tom Hanks as Disney film.
Yeah, the Saving Mr. Banks.
Yes, that was it, which was a good film. I had issues with it, but it was a good film, and I think this is just that rip-off, and I'm not sure it's anything.
I think they assume, because obviously Neverland was successful.
Oh, yeah,
Finding Neverland
and
all that. And I think there's almost a niche Hollywood finds for these kind of films.
Yeah. I think, again, Oscar bait.
Again, it could be Oscar bait, it could just be a film that gets produced and passes by and just breezes by.
Yeah. Next up, Big Time Adolescence. A 16-year-old virgin with a growth deficiency slowly gets corrupted by his hero and aimless college dropout. I'm just imagining Pineapple Express for this film, basically.
I really am. It sounds like I'm going to have a stoner Steph Rogen again.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it'll be a film. It won't do well, but I'll enjoy it.
Next up, another biopic. LBJ. Lyndon Johnson goes from powerful Senate Majority Leader, powerless Vice President, to President of the United States following the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Lyndon Johnson had an amazing career, as sort of summed up by that. A really interesting guy as well. Also, there's the bit where he ordered trousers that were big enough for his balls to fit in. Yeah, that's who this is.
Yeah, no.
So we want this movie.
This has the potential to be a very good biopic.
Yeah. And of course we've seen lots of biopics recently, like The Butler.
12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave, a lot of stuff in this vein, which came out really good, and there's potential for this film. The next one, I Am Ryan Reynolds. And inside...
No, skip, just skip the film. I Am Ryan Reynolds. The fuck?
And the next one is your favourite of the list, Wonka.
Oh yeah, baby.
A dark reimagining of Willy Wonka's story beginning in World War II and culminating with his takeover of the chocolate factory.
Now, Gene Wilder's too old.
Yeah.
But is cloning technology at the point where we could make Gene Wilder?
Not quite yet.
Alright, so let's just stay clear of Johnny Depp.
I would say we could cast Johnny Depp in it, but we've seen what he does to prequels.
And no, I don't, like, a part of me enjoyed the Tim Burton Charlie and Chocolate Factory film.
I was talking about Alice in Wonderland, but yes, that was also awful.
Oh god, don't even mention that. No, just...
Rapping Oompa Loompas.
Just no.
Yeah. I mean...
I think it's going to be so otherworldly bad, it will be amazing. That's my hope.
I mean, I want to see the scene of the Oompa Loompas, like, fighting, like, Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, like,
that's something
how do we utilise the Oompa Loompas at war? Although I think it'll be he fights at war, becomes dark and jaded, travels the world, see amazing sights, finds the joy of chocolate with the Oompa Loompas, and then goes back to take the chocolate factory. The interesting thing here is, are they going to have the Christopher Lee dad? Because, come on.
Well, yeah, he could be the previous owner of the chocolate factory.
No, he's a dentist.
He's the well, yeah, I forgot he was the dentist. That's true.
But then, ultimately, I don't want anything from that film, so...
Yeah, no. The next film is Professor Pasgetti.
I have hopes.
We both have hopes.
So many hopes.
It
got introduced by Nathan Fillion. Have you not seen it? The
No.
video is like one of the... And on this list will be Professor Pasgetti.
Nice. That actually gives me more hope.
Yeah.
A famous children's author with an affinity for drugs and hookers finds himself on a journey of self-discovery with a dead stripper and her 8-year-old son.
Now, there's one of two ways this film can go.
Do you want to present your way first?
Either way can go. Now, my way is the straight-up dark. You've got a very bleak, unremitting, gritty world with this author who can't even... He's never had to deal with it. He writes children's books, but he can't...
Deal with children?
Deal with children, thank you. And we'll have this sort of... where he has to stop and take a look and realise the consequences of his own life and how that he's affecting children with possibly a broken authorship. And then we've got your version.
Yeah, my version where they just hire Charlie Sheen and stick him with a dead hooker's body and a child and just film him for a while. Where it's like a sort of slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
The journey could be either metaphysical, which is like your interpretation,
yes,
or a physical journey where the children's author has to get out of state with this dead hooker's body and her son, and just shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, it could go ill, and I would watch either version of this.
Yeah, I think either version of it could work because you either have just Terry Gilliam kind of style of humor, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas style thing, or you have just dark Terry Gilliam, I guess.
Yeah, my dark Terry Gilliam, if you will. But actually, in retrospect, that probably might be one of my favourites on this.
I kind of like what was it, Dodger? I said I really liked.
Yeah, and for me, Wonka, but that one.
Those are just the out there concepts that really should be made, but I think that one's the most potential that no matter how it's made, it should be good.
Yes.
Next up we have Uncle Shelby.
Okay.
The little known personal heartbreaking and dark side of cartoonist author Shel Silverstein.
Again, we mentioned this earlier.
This is our biopic. This is very popular. Biopics have been doing quite well recently. Have been done really well recently. I mean, Saving Mr. Banks was a great film.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, there's no real surprise there. They were going to eventually be biopics.
Yeah, and this is just something that's happening, and I think could be interesting.
Well, ultimately, it's a person you don't know much about. You know his work.
Yeah.
You don't know much about the person.
So it depends how interesting his personal life was.
Exactly.
Next up, we have my friend Dahmer, I think.
Dahmer.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, is this an actual person again? I really apologise.
No, you don't have to apologise to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, okay.
He ate people.
Based on the acclaimed graphic novel by John Bachelor, Jeffrey Dahmer struggles with a difficult family life as a young boy, and during his teenage years, his slow transformation edges him closer to the serial killer he becomes. So this is another, like, Hannibal Origins, right?
Hannibal Origins, but based on a true story.
Oh, that's even more.
Well,
I
based on a
apologize to
comic
the
book.
victims of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Based upon a comic book that's based upon a true story.
Okay. It could work. I mean,
it has the potential to work again, but it'll be working more upon the fact that it's based upon a real person, like a real vicious criminal.
Yeah.
And that'll tap into something primal in us.
Yeah,
whereas
I think that could work.
if it wasn't, it would just be another Hannibal.
Right. Yeah, the fact that it's not
Hannibal Rising.
The fact that it's not Hannibal Rising actually gives me more hope with this one.
Yeah, and well, I've heard nothing but good things about the comic book, and hopefully, if they can stick to that format, and as much as possible.
Yeah. Though imagine, hopefully not using like a Zack Snyder comic book theme, because I think that would ruin the entire film.
Oh, that would be horrifying.
Okay. Next up, we have Seducing Ingrid Bergman. Based on Chris Greenaw's eponymous novel, Ingrid Bergman and war photographer Robert Capa engage in a passionate, life-changing romance in post-World War II Paris.
Well,
Oscar bait?
Horrific Oscar bait. You've got everything. You've got World War II. You've got infamous film personalities. You've got it's biopic. It's grey morally. It's so Oscar bait it hurts.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing that, I guess. Next up, we have The Beautiful Game. A high school soccer star's personal life becomes complicated leading up to his championship game as he develops a relationship with his soccer coach. Now, given that America just last year was rocked with paedophilia allegations with a high school soccer coach, again, tone-deaf fuck-up springs to mind. Given that was a huge cover-up at the school level. But then again, if you're approaching it like as a dramatization of that, I guess it needs to be done. But
it speaks to issues.
It speaks to issues. It largely depends on the tone the film approaches with it, and like the underlying message that the director believes in.
I have to agree with you entirely on this one. I realised I almost took the exact opposite last time you said tone deaf, but this one's a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, it
has a much larger potential to fuck up.
Tone deaf fuck up. Yeah, especially because he's still a minor.
Yeah,
that's
the issue. Yeah.
Because you don't really want to watch a film that endorses paedophilia. You
really don't?
Aside from Romeo and Juliet.
I don't really want to watch that either.
Well, that's true. So, that was 2014's Blacklist.
Exciting stuff.
And if it tells us anything, budding scriptwriters, seriously, submit your scripts. I mean, they have like a Willy Wonka Dark and Gritty reboot.
They'll do anything.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, right now, I'm going to go finish my Jafar script. It's a dark and gritty reboot.
I've read it. It's awesome. Trust me. First off, let me just thank you for watching. Once again, please do like and subscribe. If you have any ideas for what we should talk about in future videos, please comment about them and tell your friends. Thanks, Internet. You've been a treat.